Yeah, what's up? Give me like 2 minutes. I'm just sharing my link. Gonna try to get this out to everybody.
A complete AI.
Yeah, what's going on? Give me like 2 minutes. Just let me get this link shared out.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Just added a little extra protection.
Tom has insuranoia.
Excuse me. It's not a toy.
He's gone to great lengths to protect his car, so he never has to deal with his insurance. He should have NJM. They go to great lengths to do what's best for their policyholders.
Please stop.
I can't.
This little light of mine in the dark found a hopeful sign.
Alright, guys. Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ricky. This is America First. FTR stands for Free the Republic. Why am I echoing? Alright, hold on. Sorry, I'm echoing like crazy. Alright. So, we are going to watch Sean Ryan and Cenk Uygur's video interview from earlier today. I have not watched it yet. I think it's going to be a pretty good interview. Both of them are willing to put aside their political differences and try to come to some solutions. And I think that's what we need, because I don't think anybody in this political class gives a fuck about any of us. Doesn't matter if it's Trump and the Republicans. Doesn't matter who it is for the Democrats. I think they are all in it for themselves. They're all in it to enrich themselves. They don't give a fuck about me and you. And I think that is proven over and over and over again. And I'm going to make it my mission to wake people up and stop the division and break people free from the fucking propaganda that they have gotten brainwashed from. Because it's not about left versus right. It's about us versus them. The more they keep us divided, the more we do not look at what's really going on with our politicians. Our politicians have no loyalty to us. Our politicians have loyalty to their donors, to their PACs, and to their special interests. And that's it. I don't even know if our elections really... I don't even know. I think our elections are all for show at this point. I don't even believe them. I think it's all bullshit. I think it's all decided but before the election at this point. I think that's how far gone our country really is. So let me bring up the Sean Cenk interview and let's watch it. See what happens. And see if these guys from both sides of the aisle can come to some common ground and common understanding. Because that's what we all need to do.
Cenk Uygur, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
It's going to be a hell of a discussion today. There's a lot of shit to talk about.
There is. Yeah.
So, but I really appreciate you coming on. You know, throughout the years, the country's obviously become extremely divided. It has been probably for the majority of my adult life, but man, it's speeding up fast. And so I appreciate you being here, because I think we both come from opposite ends of the spectrum. And listening to you and recently, and just my own feelings, I think maybe both of us are pretty fucking disgusted with the parties we come from, and I heard Joe Rogan call it politically homeless, and I think that's the perfect term, politically homeless. I feel like
if you want to push it out and like really get it out there, make sure you film it. And
I don't know. I always thought I was a Republican. Turns out I'm not a fucking Republican. I'm not a Democrat either, but I'm just an American who wants to fix stuff, that wants a brighter future for my kids than I had. And so I hope we can come up with some solutions today on all the problems that are going on.
So don't worry, I've got the solutions. We'll
Nice.
get to that. So we're the first online video show, right? And we're the first YouTube partner. So I've been doing this 24 years. So I've seen it all. And I give you that context because this is both the worst of times and the best of times. So as shitty as things are going to get, I think, are going to get better because we're nearly at the bottom of Pandora's box. And if you know that old Greek story, all the demons fly out of Pandora's box once you open it. And at the very bottom, the last thing left is hope. Okay. So we're almost at hope.
I hope so, man.
So here's why. The reason I gave the context is because I've seen this movie so many times where the Democrats say they're the good guys, the Republicans say they're the good guys. They both do propaganda. Mainstream media loves that propaganda. They put it on steroids, right? And the most important thing is make sure you're divided and you're and you hate each other and you're constantly attacking one another. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they tell you that you don't agree on anything. And then, but in the old days, they would celebrate anytime there was bipartisan consensus, and mainstream media said that was like the greatest thing in the world. And on the Young Turks, we've been pointing out for 20 straight years now, online and longer on the radio, saying, hey, wait a minute, what are they agreeing on? Let's look at what they're agreeing on and what they're disagreeing on, right? So what they agreed on every single time was corporate subsidies, corporate tax breaks, corporate this, corporate that, foreign government this, foreign government that. Every time it was a giveaway of our money, right? So Joe Biden didn't do much, but they declared him FDR 2.0. And I'm like, what's these amazing things he did? In my opinion, he did some good things, more internet across the country. That's a good thing, right? And I can name a couple other good things. But then they talk about the semiconductor bill. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, look, we need more semiconductors in America. We're too dependent on Taiwan. I get it. But what's in the bill? Oh, it's a $54 billion giveaway to the semiconductor industry. I'm like, okay, wait. But did we protect Americans? Like, did we protect American jobs? Did they have to produce it here, right? No, we didn't protect any American jobs. And as soon as the bill passed, Intel fired 8,000 people. And then they fired another 12,000 people, right? And they outsourced. So, but the media was like, yes, Joe Biden delivers. But did he deliver for us? No, he took $54 billion from us and gave it to huge companies, right? Maybe it was necessary, but it needed guardrails and it needed it to not be a giveaway. But the bottom line is that I can give you dozens of examples like that. Like with the oil companies, we give them $35 billion a year in subsidies. What the fuck? They're the biggest companies in the world. They're the most profitable companies in the world. What do they need John and Susie's money for, who are barely making the rent in Kansas, right? So, and every time mainstream media, when they do that bullshit unity, they celebrate, oh, bipartisan unity, right? And what do they split you on? Things that you actually agree on. So an example I use is paid family leave. So mom's getting 12 weeks off after they have a baby. 84% approval because right wing's like, oh, that'll lead to moms having, more babies, bigger families. We love moms. We want time for them to bond with the baby. Of course we do, right? And the left likes it. It's a bill that they've always liked. Well, 84%. Where's the question? We can't get it passed. Why can't we get it passed? Because they're all full of shit. They all work for their donors. Most of the donors are corporate, but now, as we know, famously, there's one foreign government that is, in the last cycle, the biggest donor of all, and that's Israel. And so when you lose your sovereignty to a corporation, that's already a big problem.
So just so you guys know, the name of the channel is America First FTR, and FTR stands for Freed the Republic, because just like Cenk said, we are no longer a sovereign country. Our country is ran by donors, PACs, and special interests, and none of them give a fuck about me or you, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. That's just a fact.
But when you lose it to a foreign government, that's a problem that I cannot accept.
Yeah. It definitely seems like we are now a proxy.
Yeah.
The United States seems like it is now a proxy. And that, to me, is terrifying. And I don't, we'll get to the hope. I hope you have some hope.
Yes. Yeah.
I have maybe two solutions. I don't even know if I would call them solutions, but it's a direction that maybe we could go in. One of them would be extremely complicated, and you know, the most challenging thing is, in my opinion, is just getting to people to come together on any issue, which was what we've been talking about. But I think you know, just looking at social and just talking to people and whatever, just my pulse on the country is that Democrats are sick of their party, Republicans are sick of their party, and I do have a little bit of hope. I think that, I mean, if you look online, you don't see it, but I think more people are becoming politically homeless, and I think we're all kind of seeing that. I think the biggest thing in the 2028 ticket will be Israel, but
yes, the biggest thing on the 2028 ticket is going to be Israel. And it is going to be who takes money from AIPAC and who doesn't. And if you don't take money from AIPAC, you're probably going to get into office. And if you take money from AIPAC, you're probably not. At least I pray that's how it goes. Because if not, I don't know how we come back from this.
And it's something that a lot of people are uniting on. And whatever we're going to unite on, we need to unite on something. And that seems to be, you know, that's the topic of discussion today. AIPAC, their influence, the Iran war, Gaza, now Turkey, Lebanon. I mean, it's
and if we pull out of NATO, like Trump has been talking about, the only reason we are pulling out of NATO is so when Israel decides that they want to go after Turkey, we can back them up and we are not attacking a NATO ally. That is why we're pulling out of NATO. Don't let anybody fucking fool you.
And all the money that's going, what is like 320 billion since 46, since 1946?
48,
you know,
yeah.
48, that's a lot of money. We got it all broken down here, but we have to come, if we want any change at all, we're going to have to come together, because we can bat shit back and forth like abortion and trans issues and taxes. I mean, those issues are just going to be batted back and forth until the end of fucking time.
I don't think so.
Illegal, abortion's legal, whatever. It's never going to end. And they use that to divide us.
Here's the problem. I don't think that the Republicans have a chance of keeping the House or the Senate in the midterms, because so many people feel alienated from the Trump administration, except for the people that are in the cult. So I don't think they have a chance in hell of winning the midterms. I think the Democrats are going to sweep and Trump's going to get impeached, and it's going to be a fucking nightmare. That's what I think is going to happen. I hope I'm wrong, but
You know, the racial shit. And so, you know, I think more people are starting to look past that. I think the race card was overplayed a lot, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people are seeing that and realize maybe it wasn't as bad as everybody made it out to be. And I think that's happening with a lot of issues. And that is giving me hope. Hey,
the race card got overplayed, just like when Trump was getting elected in 2016. We had to worry about if we got outed as a Trump supporter because we might lose our jobs. It's the same thing that's happening with the word anti-Semite right now. They want to label, they're fucking calling Jewish people anti-Semites because they don't believe in the genocide in Gaza. Like, so the word has zero meaning anymore. It's like calling people Hitler or Nazi. Like, everybody's been called a Nazi at this point. The word has zero fucking meaning.
we were fucking lied to. This shit was over embellished, or some things weren't embellished enough, and people are coming together, and they're everybody's looking, like, not everybody, but a lot of people are looking for the real solution, not let's bat fucking abortion back and forth till the end of time, and that does give me a little hope. So
Yeah, 100%. So look, I want to talk in a minute about it.
And this is what gives me hope. The fact that everybody under the age of 45 doesn't watch the fucking news. They don't watch the mainstream media. So they're not getting spoon-fed, fed slop propaganda no matter where they turn. They are on here, on the internet, looking for independent people that are being honest about their fucking opinions. And whether you agree with their opinions or not, the fact is, truth is the currency in this game. So as long as you are genuine and honest with your audience, that is the only fucking thing that matters. That's all that matters. All these conservative ink shills that fucking tweet out about the ballroom when this fucking shit at the ballroom happened, like, yeah, that wasn't coordinated. There was like 40 people that tweeted out, we need a ballroom at the same time. Because that's not a fucking psyop.
How we can unify, what we unify around, and how to win, okay, and how to get American sovereignty back. Okay, so that's the number one issue. And people are constantly talking about, like, oh, Cenk, you're obsessed with Israel, right? Yeah, but if Peru was occupying us, I'd be obsessed about Peru, right? And so, and you want me to talk about other issues. What other issues, brother? We don't even control our own government.
Yep.
If we don't control our own government, then those conversations are fake anyway.
Yep.
Right. So they're not going to lead to anything. They're not. It's all a distraction. It's all meant to divide us. But before we get to the solutions, we really got to talk a little bit more about the problem.
Oh yeah.
Right. So look, it's, as I keep saying, and I'll say it throughout, it's not just Israel. Israel's the tip of the iceberg. But what it's doing is it's making us aware that there's an iceberg. And so Israel is obvious because it's a foreign government. So it's just glaring to be a proxy, as you said, for a different country. But the rest of the iceberg is money and politics, because all these guys are owned. They're all prostitutes, all of our politicians.
Yep.
And so the job, and mainstream media is the getaway driver, right? What happens is,
we don't fix our politics until we get special interests, super PACs, and fucking donors that are throwing $250 million at a campaign out of politics. There's no way to fix it until that happens. Unless we're able to accomplish that, we don't have a fucking chance.
Donors will put, like, let's put numbers to it, right? Like APAC, they put in 127 million in the last election cycle, number one donor class, right? In that cycle, normally big pharma's number one, the drug companies, right? But they put in 127 million. What did they get back out? At a minimum, Trump gave them another $13 billion, right? On top of the 320 from earlier.
At a 5-star resort, but you're embarrassed to take your shirt off at the pool. I'll fix this problem forever, so you'll never feel this way again.
It's a good return.
Yeah, if you put in 127 million, you get 13 billion back. That's 100 to 1. In fact, you'd be an idiot not to do that. So, like, people say, you're saying Israel's uniquely evil. No, Israel is uniquely strategic. If other countries could do that, if Bolivia or Turkey or China or anyone could do that, like, or they could figure out the mechanics of how to do it, like AIPAC did and the Israeli lobby did, which, by the way, they're going to, and then they're going to buy, and then it's going to be an auction. Okay, who'd like to buy 20 U.S. congressmen? Oh, we have a bid from China. We have a bid from Brazil, right? So once you allow the bribery, it is an absolute certainty that all your politicians will get bribed, right? So one of the reasons I despise mainstream media, and you won't find anyone who hates them more than me on the right or the left, okay, is because once I found out they'd been lying to me my whole life, that they weren't doing news, they were doing propaganda for the powerful. It was the exact opposite of what's true. I was so mad because basically they brainwashed me along with the whole country. And they got us to believe this fable, this theater. It's like the Wizard of Oz.
So, just like Cenk, right? He fell for the propaganda coming from the left. Just like anybody that was an independent or voted for Trump because he was the lesser of two evils fell for the propaganda coming from the right. So both voting bases are fucking tired of it, man. We're both sick of it. And unless we stop fighting with each other and go after the real problem, nothing is going to get done. But at least people are starting to wake the fuck up.
And once you lift the curtain back and you see the guy behind the curtain, you can't go back. You can't unsee it. So, for example, they say the politicians are having real debates. My ass they are. They're not having any real debates. Lindsey Graham, did he get convinced of anything? No, he got convinced by all the legalized bribes they're giving him, the campaign contributions. Did Hakeem Jeffries get convinced and have real moral principles about loving and supporting Israel unconditionally? No, he got $5.5 million from AIPAC. I mean, who are you kidding? Yeah. Mainstream media says, no, those aren't bribes. No, those are true opinions of Hakeem Jeffries and Ted Cruz, right? And how dare you say that? You're an anti-Semite, okay? And you're a conspiracy theorist. No, now I get it. No, you're full of shit and you're doing propaganda to try to get us to not see the bribes.
Yeah,
$5.5 million is not complicated, man. And they say, oh,
I'll tell you what, $5.5 million would change my life, my mom's life, my two brothers' life, my nephew's life, my kids' life, when I have kids, and probably their kids' lives. So what would make people think that $5.5 million wouldn't affect how these guys vote? I don't understand it. Of course it would. Of course it would. Because human nature is fucking greed. So if they can keep the money coming in for them, they're going to do whatever they got to do to keep the money coming in.
You think that they're influenced by $5.5 million? Fuck yeah, I do. Of course they're influenced. What? Seriously, is everyone in mainstream media so stupid that they think, oh, a regular person wouldn't be affected by $5.5 million? Who are you kidding, man? But the thing is, the most educated people in the country, unfortunately, love the establishment, and they read the New York Times and they watch CNN, and they have become the most ignorant people in the country. But since they're so well educated, they think they're the smartest, and they think they've got it figured out the best. And they're like, what would the masses know? The unwashed masses. They have a bunch of conspiracy theories. I like the idea that the donors control the politicians. I do declare, Jeeves. New York Times wrote about that the other day. No.
You know what the masses notice? That gas is $4.75 a gallon. And we're living paycheck to paycheck. And at the end of the week, after paying rent and our phone bill and our car insurance and groceries and gas, we have less money than we started with. And it's not because we're not working hard enough. I'll tell you that much. I kill myself at my fucking job. Every day. And it's not enough. But I should do more, right?
No, they don't control them at all. It's all a conspiracy theory. Moron, what do you think AIPAC put the $127 million in for? For their health? For a general welfare? Because Israel cares so much about the average American that they just wanted to give to our politicians out of the goodness of their heart. And then they say stupid shit like, no, when Israel gives America money, that's not for Israel's benefit. That's for America's benefit.
Yeah.
Because it's giving you so much in jobs and this and that. So is that right? Then why doesn't Israel give us the $320 billion back, and then it'll be for Israel's benefit? And Israel will be they'll be filled with benefits. Come on, give the money back. Give the money back. No, anti-Semite. Okay, I got you. So everyone on TV, literally everyone on TV is full of shit.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And so as far as I know, I'm the only guy banned on Fox News and MSNBC and CNN.
You're banned on all of them?
Can't get it's Sean, it's hilarious. Somebody won't know, a producer, and they'll book me on a show, and then we have an internal game. And we have an internal game at Young Turks. We're like, when are they going to cancel? We'll do an over-under. Oh, they'll cancel by 1 o'clock. Oh, I'll go over. They'll cancel 1:15. I'll go under 12:45. Once I'm going to I'll say it for the first time here. Joe Scarborough invites me on. Okay. I triple confirm because I got to fly from LA to New York. Mid-flight, they cancel.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Man, I won't even do it. I refuse to do it because I feel like I'm giving a large portion of the problem the time of day and making them relevant by appearing because our shows get more numbers than theirs do.
Yep.
And so I don't want them to be able to I want them to go down. I don't want to be on there. I don't want to give them the time of day. I don't want to bring my audience over there. I think they are a huge portion of what the fucking problem is today, and they need to be gone. And I think what I wanted to ask.
They are the problem. They are the problem. Because every single station is just spitting out propaganda for the left or the right, either one. They are just spitting out anything that will keep us divided. And it's all bullshit. Because you know what? It doesn't matter if it's a Democrat in office or a Republican in office. I guarantee you, by the end of their term in Congress or Senate, they're a fucking millionaire.
Ask you is, To me, it appears that the baby boomer generation is the only generation left that watches mainstream media.
Yep.
A mesothelioma diagnosis changes everything. But with Whites and Luxembourg at your side.
We've hired a lot of people over the years, and one thing you learn pretty quickly, it does look pretty fucking cool. I gotta admit.
And they called it preemptive strike. That's where it began. Okay. I'm like, that's not a preemptive strike or self-defense. That's just you attacking all your neighbors in a surprise attack and then taking their shit. Then that's when they took West Bank, Gaza Strip, Golan Heights, Sinai Peninsula. They give Sinai back to neuter Egypt, which was the largest military in the area. Once Egypt's out of the picture, the rest of them are screwed, right? So, but the bottom line is, we have eyes and ears. We could see they just took 53% of Gaza. They're taking southern Lebanon as we speak. And the liars on television say, no, don't believe your eyes and ears. They're only doing self-defense and they're the victims. How could they be the victims when I see Gaza? When they pulverize the place? What do you mean victims? So the Palestinians aren't the victims even though they're occupied, and you just destroyed 90% of the buildings in Gaza. You destroyed every hospital and every school.
But they killed like 73,000?
At a minimum, Sean. Yeah, because there's people still under the rubble. So, and the IDF confirmed the numbers from Gaza. So, yeah, and why did they confirm? That's how they kind of at the end they wanted to rub it in, like hell yeah, we murdered all of you. Now I just read a piece from Haaretz. You know what's funny? Israeli press is way better than American press because you can't call them anti-Semites. So, so they actually there's some press that does really good reporting. So Haaretz had this story of IDF soldiers that are wetting themselves every night. I'm not making it up, but I'm being literal. Okay. And you could read the story yourself. And they can't sleep at night, etc. So why? They all have these horror stories. They're like, well, they told us to shoot, and I'm a sniper, and I could see them, and they were civilians, but I had to shoot them, and I can't get the image of their heads exploding out of my head when I try to go to sleep. We went and shot another guy. We went and shot a bunch of people they told us to shoot. We go there, it's a bunch of kids and a grandpa, right? And I think, oh no, we're going to get in trouble. The commanding officer comes and spits on him and says, no problems, we did the right thing. He's like, I can't get the picture of the grandpa and the kids out of my head, right? So they're having all sorts of mental health issues with IDF soldiers coming back because they're full-blown fascists now, and they're telling them to murder kids. So the American doctors coming back, they're like, extraordinary rate of sniper shots for kids under the age of 5. The shots are always in the chest or the head, chest or the head. What are they shooting kids on purpose? That's literally what terrorists do, right? And others, it's endless. Another story where they got a guy, he's innocent. They already killed his 4 guys that were with him. And again, this one's a female IDF soldier. She thinks, you know, he's freezing cold. What are we going to do? And one of the soldiers urinates on him, and they all laugh.
Jeez, man.
And then you bring up these things and you go, look, those are Israelis saying it in the Israeli press. They're like anti-Semite. Oh, okay. So you don't care about bigotry. You're just using that word to make sure Americans shut up and never criticize Israel.
I mean, that's the defense mechanism, you know. It's just, I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, how many people do you think actually think that?
That
you're anti-Semitic for saying.
Oh, no, Sean, and that, you know, that's a really great question, and I might have a surprising answer for you. So there's a couple of guys up at the top that are weaponizing it on purpose, and they're super callous, and they know that not only are those people that are pointing out all these problems not anti-Semitic, they'll target people who are not anti-Semitic even more. Like they say Nick Fuentes, they're like, oh, that's not a problem. Like since he's so blatantly anti-Semitic, the politicians can't associate with him, so he can't ever get close to power. The real problem is people like me and my co-host Anna Kasparian and Tucker Carlson and you, who are not anti-Semitic, because then politicians can still talk to them and we're not toxic. So we have to pretend they're anti-Semitic to try to make them toxic so that no one will be allowed to talk to them and they'll never be able to get close to power. So it's a coordinated strategy. But those are only a small group of people at the top. Most people who make that charge truly believe it. But put that aside, they realize that, and mainstream media realize the same thing, and they do it not just in the case of Israel, but all their political opponents. In the old days, there was assassinations, but that was messy. It's illegal. You can get caught. People have moral compulsion, blah, blah, blah. It's just a mess, right? Doing physical assassinations. So they switched over to character assassinations. So anytime somebody says something that they don't like, all of a sudden there'll be an article in the New York Times and the LA Times and the Washington Post, and CNN will cover it, and then there'll be congressional hearings. And you can tell, he'll give an example not related to Israel. Madison Cawthorn, you remember him? He was a right-wing guy, young guy in a wheelchair, very right-wing.
North Carolina.
So I disagree with him on 90% of stuff. But he just does it like what seemed like a flippant comment. Oh, yeah, there's orgies all the time with cocaine and stuff here, and I got invited to it by older Republicans in Congress. Boom, all of a sudden, picture of him in a dress comes out, this thing comes out, that thing comes out, all these incriminating things, right? They literally have a secret file on everyone, and they don't use it until you become problematic, and then all of a sudden there's a leak, and all of a sudden that guy's character is assassinated, and then he loses his next election, and he's eliminated. Okay, so any opponent of the establishment is eliminated in this way. And by the way, they do it to the right and the left, and a lot of people on the right, A, don't know this, and B, will have a hard time believing it, but I can tell you stories that'll convince you. They do it even more to the left. They hate left-wing outsiders like Bernie Sanders more than they hate Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio or even Trump. God, they despise Bernie Sanders.
Are we talking about the establishment right now?
The establishment, okay. So now when it comes to, you take establishment and you put Israel, oh my God, that's thermonuclear, okay? So that's where you're gonna get the most character assassinations. Anti-Semite, why? We're gonna assassinate his character. He's a bigot, he hates people for no reason, he's a monster. Anyone who talks to him, it should be eliminated from politics, right? And you oppose Israel, and they're going to try to dig and dig and dig. Here, I'll give you an example from us. Now, this, I don't know if it was related to Israel or the establishment overall, but I formed Justice Democrats. That's the group that got a bunch of people elected to Congress. Don't hate me, but AOC, Tlaib, Omar, Ayanna Pressley, etc. And I'm proud of the structure that we set up, and that structure, I think, can now be used for better purposes. We can get into the merits of all that, et cetera. But the moment that I set it up and it looks like it's going to get momentum, I get put on a list, and here comes the character assassination. So they dig for a needle in a haystack to try to pull out a needle, because everybody's done something wrong, right? They pull out the needle and they go, aha, that's the haystack. You got to hate that guy, okay? So in my case, they look for the first thing they always look for is sex. Okay, so they look for sex. They got nothing. I lead a super boring life. Okay, then they look for, did he do anything wrong at work? Because especially back then, there was a Me Too movement, the whole thing at that time. Sean, they called every single woman who worked at TYT or had ever worked at TYT. Did Cenk do anything wrong? Did Cenk do anything wrong? Is he a bad boss? Is he this? Is he that? And they got nothing. Wow. So then they went and found old blogs from the 1990s that I had written and deleted 15 years earlier, right? They're like, okay, that's it. Because they're digging and digging. Why are they digging? Because they got to assassinate your character. Once they assassinate your character, they can move on and go, okay, that threat has been eliminated. Why is Bernie such a big threat? One, he's against corporate power, and most of this is about corporations. But also, it's hard to call him an anti-Semite when he says we should cut funding to Israel because he's Jewish. So you can't call him but they do it anyway. The Republican congressman went out just last week on air. He'd gotten they get talking points literally from the Israelis. So he's got his talking points and he read it. And he's like, and this guy is an anti-Semite. Like, that's Bernie's Jewish. He's like, oh, well, it says it on the paper.
Wow.
I'm doing hyperbole about the paper, but he literally said it on air. And then, Sean, one last one, okay? Because this is amazing. Once you see how the theater works, who the director is, who the camera guys are, who wrote the play, then you begin to understand the whole picture. So this guy, rando congressman, I don't even remember his name, from Oklahoma, Republican, So that week, Erdogan, the leader of Turkey, criticizes Israel. Israel then gets super pissed about it, and they start attacking.
And I'll tell you what's going to happen, right? We're going to end up leaving NATO. And you know why we're going to leave NATO? Because Israel's going to attack Turkey. And if Israel attacks Turkey, that means we have to attack Turkey. And we would be attacking a NATO ally if we did that. So whatever bullshit they try to shove down our throats about why we're leaving NATO, don't fucking believe it. Because the next thing you're going to see is Israel attacking Turkey, and we're going to be following them right there.
Turkey in the press. Boom, within 2 days, a Republican congressman in Oklahoma doing a town hall going, you know, the real problem is Turkey. The real problem for Oklahoma is Turkey, our NATO ally. And he's like, they're trying to reconstitute the Ottoman Empire. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then there are articles written about in the mainstream media about real problem is Turkey. You know, they're occupying Cyprus. Did you know that? They're the real occupiers. It's amazing how coordinated it is and how it pops up in the media and among the politicians at the same time, same talking points. You could trace it. Sometimes we'll do 3-4 guys on the Young Turks in a row. And sometimes it'll be Republicans and Democrats, same talking point, all in favor of Israel, one after another after another. They're all robots, man. They get programmed by their donors, like those little, like, you know, dolls that you wind up from the back, and then they come out. Israel is our special ally. They are doing self-defense.
You've seen it firsthand with people you've lifted up. I want to ask you this, because I feel like the character assassinations are starting to diminish because they've overplayed it. And I mean, what do you think about that? I see things coming out now that would have gone viral even just a year ago. But there's just so much coming out now. There's so many character assassinations happening all at the same fucking time, that people are just getting to the point where it's like, whatever, man.
You, just you, building your app on base 44. Describe it.
Totally. So there's these two groups, and Dropsite News just did a story about one of them, Canary Mission, today. Okay, so Canary Mission and StopAntisemitism.com. These are like Israeli Gestapo outfits here in America. And what they do is they make a list of Israel's enemies, and then they try to character assassinate them. And they'll take out of context videos and go, look at this anti-Semite, right? And so why do they do that? How does that process work? So number one, their model has been from day one, anyone who criticizes Israel must be eliminated, so that we have a monopoly. Like, it'll seem like the whole country loves Israel, so it'll be easier to take our money, to be honest, right? Like $320 billion is no joke. That's a robbery. That is a massive, that is one of the biggest robberies in American history. Don't tell me it helped us. That is a load of bullshit. Like I said earlier, if it helps so much, then why don't you give the money back, and then we'll help Israel that way? Oh, all of a sudden it doesn't help when we ask for the money back, right? No. Utter bullshit. So what do? Canary Mission will not only target like let's say a Muslim American who says, hey, maybe you should stop murdering Muslims, right? But a right-winger who opposes Israel. In the old days, there was a different group, but same business model. It was like Masada 2000 or something. I don't remember the name exactly. They had what they called a shit list. And it was like an acronym, self-hating something or other. It was a list of, I forget if it was 800 or 8,000 Jewish Americans that were not sufficiently loyal to Israel. And their character had to be assassinated, okay? And so they're funded by the same type of people that fund our politicians, Israel First crowd, right? So they give a tremendous amount of money. But again, the average Jewish American has no idea that that's happening. And if you told them, they'd say, "Oh, that's anti-Semitic, conspiratorial stuff." No, I shut off my brain. La 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 la. I don't want to hear it, right? But in reality, those guys' job is to make sure that Israel has no opponents in America, and so it's unbearable. It's unacceptable. You know what they do? They go. I mean, they're out of control. So my co-host Anna Kasparian, they targeted her husband, who's just a baseball coach in a local high school, not political at all. Used to play professional baseball. So he went into coaching, and they're like, you have to denounce your wife and say she hates all Jews, and you have to do it publicly, otherwise we're going to fire you. We're going to ruin your life. Okay, that's a Gestapo, man.
Are you serious?
Yes, 100%. Then politicians started showing up. They have to fire him. If they don't fire him, the whole school is anti-Semites. Fire him, destroy him, right? So now, again, that's not every Jew in the country at all, and they don't even know that's happening, right? They just get told, oh, somebody's an anti-Semite, and they're like, oh no, destroy, right? Well, you go around destroying enough people, and at some point, people are going to get pissed, right? How many people on the right? How many people on the left? How many people in the middle are you going to destroy or try to destroy before we go, hey, you know what? Maybe fuck you, right? Maybe we're at that stage now.
Yeah.
I think we're at that stage.
Yeah.
just being honest. When Trump's got like a 30-something% approval rating at this point, if that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people saying fuck you.
Yeah.
A lot of people saying fuck you.
Yeah. So, and then they'll say, oh, we're the unwashed masses, and oh, fuck the grassroots. And
there's a lot of people saying fuck you. And coming from a 3-time Trump voter, I am one of those people saying fuck you to Donald Trump, because you sold the American people out for your donors, your special interests, and your PACs. And you have done nothing for the middle class but make prices go up, gas go up, inflation go up. The farmers are going bankrupt because of your fucking tariffs. But your kids are making a fucking killing off their defense contracts, right? Makes sense.
And conspiracy this and anti-Semitic that, and that radicals, unacceptable. What do you mean unacceptable? What is that? 80% of Democrats, for example, are now have a negative view of Israel, and we don't want to fund Israel. Right?
80%?
80%. Okay. Wow. 61% of the country's gone. We don't want it anymore, right? They're like, shut up. You're all anti-Semites. Yeah. 61% of the country's anti-Semites? What the fuck is this? So if we don't agree to serve you, and wait a minute, why is mainstream media sound like they're working for Israel? And what do you mean we're anti-Semites?
Because they are.
I mean, yeah. Who's we? We is the American people. So who are you then, right? If you're Jake Tapper on CNN and you're calling, the majority of the country an anti-Semite, then who are you? Because it doesn't sound like you're representing America. It doesn't seem like you care about Americans. In fact, you're insulting Americans. Back to the Democrats, 7 snakes in the Senate vote with the Republicans. Sorry, but all the Republicans voted for Israel. Okay, all of them in the Senate. And they say we got to send more 1,000-pound bombs. And we have to send armed bulldozers, because right now, Israel is destroying every home in 53% of Gaza that they control and are going to keep. They said it was for self-defense. Bullshit. They just stole half of Gaza, okay? And they're sending the bulldozers to southern Lebanon, where they're not only destroying Muslim villages, they're destroying Christian villages. So they're destroying every building in 70 villages overall and 3 Christian villages. A Christian priest goes out to, this is earlier on in March when they first invade Lebanon. I'm sorry, Jake Tapper. They did self-defense in Lebanon. They say this is kind of horseshit, right? So they get sent in their tanks, etc. They bomb a Christian village. So one of the houses get hit. Red Cross rushes in, and the priest of the town rushes in. Israel waits until they're all in the house. Double tap, hits them again, kills the priest, kills the Red Cross guys. They do double taps nonstop. This Voice of Henry Job is a movie that's out. It's about a 6-year-old girl. They hit the car that her family's traveling in. Everyone in the car is dead except a 6-year-old. She calls in. There's a way to call in to get help to the Palestinians. They're going to send an ambulance. They triple check with the Israelis. It takes the whole day. The whole day she's on the line. They have the videotape, the audio tape of her actual voice. And she's begging. She's a 6-year-old. Please send someone to help. Please. They're all dead. And I'm so hungry. And I'm so scared. And she's crying. The Israelis finally give permission for the ambulance to go get her. They bomb the ambulance and they kill the 6-year-old.
Holy shit, man.
Thank you for your interest in Retro Fitness. Franchising can be an incredible investment opportunity. And at Retro Fitness...
And then they say, hey, John and Susie in Kansas, you're going to have to work an extra shift because we're going to send 1,000-pound bombs for them to do that again and again. And you have to pay for it. But Sean, we're not even paying for it. We're borrowing from China, and our kids have to pay the interest on that, and our grandkids have to pay the interest on that. Why doesn't Israel borrow from China to do their own murders and have them pay the interest? No, Americans, back to the mines, back to the assembly lines, work your ass off. We're going to steal your money from your taxes, and we're going to make you borrow money from China, and you're going to give it to Israel. And if you don't, you're an anti-Semite, and we're going to destroy your life. We're going to destroy your career. Well, then you're the Gestapo. That's how the Gestapo works, okay? So back to the 7 snakes. So 7 Democrats vote, like the Republicans now nearly a majority, but not yet a majority because the boomers are against Israel, right? So under 50 years old, Republican voters are against Israel. The younger you get, the more they're against Israel, right? But so you could make a fig leaf argument for the Republicans pretending they're representing their voters because a lot of the boomers are on their side, right? But the Democrats are voting against 80% of their voters.
Look, if you're going to have a firearm in your home,
Greater Israel. You mentioned Turkey earlier. What are they, nuts? They're talking about after Iran, we're going to go to Turkey. Turkey's the 2nd biggest military in NATO. Why are they attacking NATO? Why is Trump attacking NATO? Because if Turkey's in NATO, Israel can't attack them. So they have to get America out of NATO so that they could say, oh, well, you don't have an alliance with Turkey anymore. Now help us invade Turkey.
do we have an official alliance with Israel?
I don't know what's official or unofficial, but I don't, not like we do with Turkey, because Turkey's in NATO. It's just like France. Or
I don't think we have a treaty. I don't think we have anything with them.
But yet, when they make us start
nothing official. I mean, we should check this. Actually, I'm gonna. Shit, I forgot my pen. I want to write that down. I want to check it on the break just to see. I did a quick search before we came down, but I didn't see any official anything. You would think we would have something in place with our greatest ally, but
maybe they think it's superfluous. They don't need it, right? Like, because they.
I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah, because look, I mean, with Iran,
maybe we don't put anything on paper so they can just continue to rape our country.
Yeah. So we start the Iran war for them. It's indisputable that it was for them. We had no interest in it at all. And they told us they wanted us to start it, and then we started it. And then what do? Instead of guarding our own bases and the Gulf countries, we guard Israel. So then a bomb lands right on top of our base in Kuwait, kills 6 guys, injures a whole bunch of others. And every veteran that came out of there now talking to the press says, there's tin walls, man. Literally, they told us to go in, no protection at all, and there's nothing on the roof. So they just came right from the sky and killed us. Why were all of our interceptor missiles are around Israel? Protect beloved Israel. Okay. Well, how about protecting our guys? What the fuck is this? Okay, here's another one that's indisputable. They, part of the reason we might be pausing now in Iran is because ground troops are on the way. About 50, 60,000 of our guys are on the way, right?
50 to 60,000?
Yes.
When did that change?
So
last time I checked, it was 2,000. It's 50 to 60,000.
So you see all sorts of different numbers out there. 3 different aircraft carriers with different guys going in. They're talking about, we're getting reports from like our audience mobilizing to go over to Iran from North Carolina, from here, from there. So they're sending you, oh, we're in a ceasefire. The guys are on their way, right? So, but here's my question. Wait, why do we have to use our ground troops? Israel wanted the war. Why don't we use their ground troops? Anti-Semite. Wait a minute. I got to die for you in order not to be called an anti-Semite? What is this? What is this? If Israel wants a war, why don't they use their own troops? Oh, they're busy conquering southern Lebanon. Well, why is it in American interest for Israel to conquer southern Lebanon? Shut up, anti-Semite. No, this thing's going to blow. Like, we can't take this anymore.
I mean, we're a proxy. Once again, we are the proxy. We are the biggest fucking proxy in the world now.
Yeah.
Being used. We're slaves.
The government's occupied, period. So here, again, it's pure logic, right? When I say, hey, Big Pharma gives more than AIPAC does in a normal election, they're the #1 donors in Washington, and then we can't negotiate drug prices. Well, wait. What do you mean we can't negotiate in a free market? That's like the most anti-capitalist thing you could possibly imagine. It's like socialism for the richest corporations in the world. Same thing with the oil subsidies.
Yep.
Why do I have to give them money? Okay. So, but if you, now the mainstream media never talks about that because they love the corporations, they love the donor class, etc. But if you say that to them and you're having a debate and an open discussion, they'll grant it to you. They'll say, yeah, yes, we get it. Obviously, we can't negotiate drug prices because of the power of Big Pharma. And they even concede that Obama, when he did Obamacare, left the drug companies out of it because they were too powerful. What does too powerful mean? It means they bribe our politicians and have them in their back pocket. That's all it means.
Yep.
So, but they'll grant you that. Okay. Now you turn over to Israel. You go, just like Big Pharma, just like Big Oil, AIPAC comes in and buys our politicians. They've contributed to 94% of Congress. And then they go, no, you're an anti-Semite. That's a trope. You're not allowed to say a trope. But is it true? Yes, it's true, but you have to shut up about it. Otherwise, you'll be banned on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. You're not allowed to say that. And Sean, they invented this thing called a trope. It's a beautiful defense mechanism. It's like landmines that they set up in politics, political landmines, right? So you say you killed over 20,000 children in Gaza. They go, oh no, trope. What do you mean trope? Is it not true? Yeah, it's true, but it's blood libel. What's blood libel? Blood libel is in the 1800s, 1900s, people used to say that Jews would kill Christian children and drink their blood. It's totally false, bullshit, not true. Did they get smeared that way? Yes. But wait, nobody said anything about drinking the kid's blood or any of that stuff. You're just now hiding behind the past and history to aggressively attack and then foreclose any criticism. And they have a trope for everything. So when you say you're controlling Congress, they go trope. That's a trope that Jews control countries. I'm like, yeah, but brother, I'm not. When I say it about Big Pharma, you don't say it's a trope. Yeah, that's because Big Pharma didn't think to call it tropes. What is this? Here, I'll give you a funny example. I'm Mediterranean, right? Turks, Greeks, and Italians are around the Mediterranean. We're all Mediterranean, and we're kind of hot-blooded, and we're known sometimes for, being promiscuous, right? So now imagine your wife catches you cheating, and she goes, hey, it looks like you were, with Sally the other night. You go, trope. No, you can't criticize me because I'm a Mediterranean man and there's a trope about how we're promiscuous. So you're not allowed to say that. In fact, I'm offended. Now you're the bad guy. Yeah, but did you sleep with her? Trope, anti-Semite, you're canceled. I'm offended. You're the problem. I'm the victim. No, this is bullshit. No, this is just a trick to get you to not ever criticize, right? So they get these special privileges that none of the rest of us have. You can't claim tropes. I can't claim tropes. Big Pharma can't claim tropes. Only Israel can.
What do you think? Let's get away from Israel for just a second. Let's talk about Gaza, Iran. Like, let's talk about some long-term repercussions. And so I want to know what some of your biggest fears are with the fallout of this Iran war. I think that I'm worried about, other than our guys dying for another fucking country, that is number one. But for the longevity of the country, I mean, I think the petrodollar is falling at a rapid pace. There's been, I mean, you know about BRICS. It's been around for a long time. They're trying to throw us off the world reserve currency. The petro yen is rising. I mean, now they're taking payments in yen. So what does that mean for us? I mean, that's we've essentially shut off what?
What does that mean for us? I'll tell you what it means. It means all the businesses and all the single family homes and all the land that private equity bought, they're not going to be able to offload it. And it's going to crash the fucking economy. And there's not a goddamn thing that anybody can do about it. That's what's going to happen, because that's the situation we're in. Nobody talks about how much shit private equity has bought up and sold off to make money. They've stripped everything. But now they're left with all these assets that they can't sell, that are stuck on their fucking balance sheets. And it's all going to come crashing down.
Oil to the Western world, Europe, or so. Like, you know, it's still going to China. They found a back door. And when they said that the blockade was just for the Western world at the beginning. It wasn't until we showed up that China and these, you know, in mainly China, you know, that they didn't slow down.
Yeah.
So everybody's fucking pissed at us because their energy is going to fall, which means their economy is going to fall. And we're in the fucking way of that. And we aren't.
The new and innovative AI Generate Docker empowers you to...
Yeah.
It's impossible to even negotiate because they kill all the people that we're negotiating with.
Yeah.
Israelis kill all the people we're negotiating with. And so my major fear is that we will be thrown off the world reserve currency. I don't know what that means for us, but I know it's not going to be good. That's the end of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. My number one problem is that I can't stand the loss of American sovereignty. I can't stand it, right? Like, the whole point of the country is freedom, and they're taking our freedom away, and it bothers me to no end. I'm gonna come back talk about that more later, because I'm so corny and how patriotic I am, and I love this country, and I hate that they're taking the core of it away. It bothers me more than you could imagine. But now let's talk about what you mentioned, the economic stuff. Okay, that is a second calamity, and it is going to be much larger than people realize.
Yep.
Trump is barely holding it together with duct tape, with lie after lie. Oh, well, you know, peace around the corner. Oh, don't worry, oil's going to drop. And I don't know why the markets believe him. I mean, the guy lies about everything. I don't know why they would.
The markets don't believe him, because I just paid $4.75 for gas. And 2 weeks ago, it was $3.38. So the markets don't believe him. The markets know he's full of shit now. And the price of oil and gas is just going to continue to go up and go up and go up.
But they believe him.
Here's another question. Is he holding it together, Is he really holding it together? And is that why he's saying all this shit? Or is he manipulating the market?
Oh, he's doing both. Yeah. So look, so let's talk about the cascading disasters and then come back to Trump and why he has to do what he's doing. So number one, 20% of the oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz for the whole world, right? Oil is sold in a world market. So when people say, oh, we're energy independent, that doesn't mean anything. It's just a made up phrase, because it's not our oil that the ExxonMobil and Chevron takes out of our soil. The minute they have it, it's ExxonMobil's oil. And ExxonMobil doesn't have to sell it inside the country. They can sell it all across the world, and they do. So we're not energy independent at all. We're in the global oil markets. So when the price of oil goes up for China, it goes up for us, okay? And so, but it went up more for us because you're right, in the beginning, Iran's controlling it and China is their ally. So they're letting the Chinese oil go through. Now, why did we allow that for so long? We even allowed the Iranians to sell their oil, because if the oil prices explode, which they will, that hurts the entire market and the entire economy. The stock market crashes, rich people get uncomfortable, but then we have cascading consequences for the economy overall. So when oil hits over $100, panic begins to set. And a couple of times we went past $100 per barrel. And once it gets to 120, the things start to crumble. 150 and it's thermonuclear. 200 and the global economy is a crash like you've never seen. Okay, so that's why Trump has to hold it together. He has to make sure that the price of oil doesn't go up too much in the middle of the war. But Israel put us in a spot that is unwinnable and untenable. We can't get out. It's already too late, because once Iran closed the strait, we've got to get them to open it back up. If we don't get them to open it back up, it's definitely going to 120, and it might go to 150. And some now on Wall Street, some of the smart guys are beginning to think, holy shit, it might go to 200. So so right now there's shortages in South Korea, there's shortages in India, shortages of energy all across the world. And we haven't hit what I think is the worst part of the war that's coming up. If we don't get the hell out of there, this is going to be an economic collapse like people have not seen. So why is Israel doing this? Number one, they want to take southern Lebanon, and this is all a giant distraction. Number two, they want the Iranians destroyed so they can't fund Hamas, Hezbollah, or etc. So it's all about their interest, not our interest. But the parts people don't talk about, they just open up the Leviathan gas field. For the first time, Israel now has a source of energy. And after the war starts, Netanyahu goes and brags on air, well, now that all those the strait is closed and the other things are foreclosed, you're going to have to rely on Leviathan and Israel.
Holy shit.
Okay. And when the world falls apart and we lose all of our allies, we lose NATO, we lose the Middle East, we lose everyone, Israel then says, we're your only ally. See, the rest of the world hates you. Well, why do they hate us? Because we did the shit you wanted us to do.
I think everybody sees what's happening. Everybody sees the negotiators being killed by Israel. And everybody sees it but us, but we see it. Our leadership, this administration, Trump, they don't acknowledge it. But I would just want to read something to break down the petrodollar and why it's important.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari.
Give me 2 seconds. Sorry.
I look forward to you.
Since the early 1970s, a foundational deal between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia has underpinned the entire global financial system. Oil is priced and sold exclusively in U.S. dollars. That means every nation on earth, regardless of its relationship with the U.S., must hold U.S. dollars to buy energy. Those dollar surpluses are then recycled back into the U.S. Treasury bonds, keeping American borrowing cost artificially low and sustaining the dollar as the world's reserve currency. The system has funded decades of U.S. military and economic dominance. Lose it, and the United States loses its ability to borrow cheaply, sanction adversaries, and project global power. 21 million barrels a day come out of the Strait of Hormuz. It's 530 billion in oil per year. 25% of the world's oil.
So that's the next thing I was going to get to, brother. So if you think it's bad with what oil prices will do to the world economy, wait till you see what it does to us when they stop using the dollar to exchange oil. Why? So here's what people have to understand. It's just one more step, and it's actually an easy step that a lot of people will get. When they use the dollar as that reserve currency throughout the world, just like you read there, everybody has to stock up on the dollar. But if they don't have to do that anymore, it lowers the value of the dollar, which means that we could buy less with the dollar, which means prices are going to be even higher. And we don't become the standard bearer anymore. That means they could give us an interest rate that is higher to buy our treasury bonds because we're no longer the reserve currency. We're no longer guaranteed to be able to pay it back. So that means all of our debt gets multiplied because now we're all paying a higher interest. So all that money we borrowed from China and Japan to give to Israel, we'll have to pay a higher interest on it if we're not the reserve currency. So it has many other cascading consequences, but just on the interest rate alone and the fact that they don't have to buy the dollar anymore and the inflation that'll cause, two other giant calamities. It's going to make the economy here so much worse.
It's already bad. 6 ways the Iran war is threatening dollar dominance. The Strait of Hormuz closure, yen for passage. That's trading oil in yen and accessing the strait in yen. The Gulf state dollar dump. UAE warned it may use yen or other currencies if it runs low on US dollars. The treasury sell-off, bond traders are dumping treasuries and amid high inflation fears. BRICS acceleration, we just talked about BRICS. That's growing. Last time I checked, I think there was 22 countries, probably a lot more. That's to throw us off the reserve currency, and oil's at $1.20 a barrel. So
yeah, so BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, etc. So now when you put that together, that is a massive power. Okay, and
it's
now
the counter to NATO.
100%. Now people are looking and going, wait, why do I have to listen to America? Why don't I just go do a deal with BRICS? Even
why the
Europe
fuck would you listen to America? Why would you want to? Why? I mean, all the tariffs, the sanctions. Why would you want to? You know, every country around the world has to be going, hey, we don't have to put up with this shit. This is out of fucking control.
Exactly.
Everybody's going to listen to that remark.
When you put in the tariffs on top of this war that literally everyone on planet Earth said don't, it makes no sense. Partly because everyone knew Iran, the first thing they're going to do is block the Strait of Hormuz. So, but the Israelis convinced, whether they actually convinced them or they have blackmail or whatever it is, but for the official story is they convinced Donald Trump that don't worry, the Iranians are backwards, stupid Muslims. They won't figure out how to close the Strait of Hormuz. That's the easiest thing in the world. Just put mines in there. And they said, oh, don't worry, they want to attack our Gulf countries. One of the things you read on that list, the UAE considering switching off the dollar, is sacrilege. Because the Gulf countries, UAE, Saudi Arabia, etc., we've been theoretically providing their defenses this whole time. And so they're supposed to be like totally on our side and kind of almost addicted to us. They need us. And then what happened in this Iran war? Not only did we start a war that got them attacked, and was Iran going to attack those Gulf countries? Of course, our bases are in the Gulf countries. They can't reach America. That's why we had no interest in Iran. But they can reach our bases. So, of course, they're going to attack our bases. And so the UAE and Saudi Arabia foolishly thought, well, the Americans will at least protect their own bases, so they'll protect us. No, all we did was protect Israel. And so when the war started and we didn't even protect UAE and Saudi Arabia, they got furious. Those suckers really thought that we cared about them. No, you didn't buy our politicians, Israel did. So we don't care about you at all. We're just using you, you idiots. And now they realize it. Just before I came here, another news report, the Saudis are now saying, no, we're going to start doing deals with China, Turkey, maybe even Iran after the war, etc. Because it turns out America, it was a lie. They're not going to protect us. They didn't protect us. So we got to get off of this alliance. Now, they're the ones that hold a lot of the oil. They start trading in yen. They start trading in other currency. We're totally screwed. And the whole time, Israel's going to be cackling in the corner going, ha, 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 we're your only ally left.
According to Polymarket, there's a 45% chance the Strait of Hormuz traffic returns to normal by the end of May. What do you think?
The gold days of Grubhub Plus are upon us, but with great deals come gold diggers.
That's a big bag, Gary.
Look,
it's not going to happen.
I hesitate, Sean, is because Trump will definitely destroy his presidency. If he hasn't already done so, if he puts in the ground troops or he bombs their power plants and their bridges, as he said, the economy is going to melt down in all the ways that we described and then some. His popularity is going to go from 32 into the 20s, unprecedented, never heard of territory. And so he can't do it. Because if he bombs Iran's oil facilities, as he's threatening to do, the power plants, etc., Iran, first of all, they can't get rebuilt for about 5 years. So you're doing permanent damage to oil and the supply of oil, which by definition will raise the prices. But on top of that, Iran says, if you hit our oil, we're going to hit the oil and gas in the Gulf. Now we're talking about massive damage, taking 5-10 years to recover from. Gas prices like nobody's ever seen. We're already at $7 in LA for a gallon of gas. We're going to go to 8, we're going to go to 10, and God knows where we're going, okay? So he cannot go in. He's totally stuck. That's why he's almost like pleading with the Israelis. Please let me do a peace deal, right? But it looks like the Israelis are going to deny him. So if that 45% is mental, if I'm right, and I had this debate with a guy on Twitter, Mario Nahwal, he's got a big show on X, and bless his heart, he's a good guy and stuff, but he's like, no, Cenk, Israel's got influence in America. They don't completely control America. So because this war is insane, Trump's going to stop it because it can't go on for all the reasons we've been talking about. And I'm like, no, watch, Mario. Israel controls America.
What
go further.
Signs are people seeing that we are not, that this administration is not controlled by Israel? What are they saying?
They don't even have a
point. They've killed everybody we're negotiating with in the middle of negotiations.
So, look,
that's not a sane response. That's
two more things. They gives you a full sense of control, right? Did you know they killed 10 Americans, the Israelis did, in the last 3 years? And our government hasn't even asked for the murderers to be arrested. We haven't asked for them to be brought to justice or to be extradited.
I mean, Cenk, we caught a pedophile in Las Vegas that was part of their cyber team and delivered him back to Israel with a little bow on him. Nothing. No repercussions.
No, that
literally like going after little girls on the internet. Caught him,
Sean,
sent him back with no repercussions.
It's a little worse than that. Here's why it's a little worse. They catch him in a ring he's part of 9 guys. The other 8 are Americans. Those Americans have to face consequences because they're pedophiles. So significant, serious consequences, okay, in the justice system. The Israeli is working with us in cybersecurity. He's one of their top cybersecurity officials. First of all, a real American has to win the next presidential election. We should not be having Israel anywhere near our cybersecurity. Okay, we'll come back to that too. So, but this cybersecurity official comes here for sexual tourism. He thinks, well, I'll go rape American girls. I'm Israeli. I'm above the law. If I get caught, I'll just go back to Israel.
He's right.
And that's exactly what happened. He gets caught with the other Americans. Americans have to face the consequences. The Israelis above the law. We gift wrap him, just like you said, and send him back to Israel. No consequences. So, I mean, look at Jonathan Pollard. So Jonathan Pollard steals our top secrets. That's after Israel already stole our nuclear secrets, some kind of fucking ally, right? So then Pollard, this is amazing. Netanyahu goes to Clinton back in the late 1990s, actually during the Oslo Accords, and says, we have the tapes of you with Monica Lewinsky, before anybody knew about Monica Lewinsky. First of all, how does Israel have the tapes? Okay. And then they say, oh, the idea that Israel might blackmail an American politician, that's anti-Semitic. Get the fuck out of here. They already did it. There's a whole book about it. The Israeli press talks about it. So then he says, I want you to release Jonathan Pollard. Now, to Clinton's credit, he doesn't, right?
Whoa.
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
Impossible.
Nina can't code.
Interesting. Can it generate reports?
It can now.
Nice.
So you're saying we can all build apps now?
Yeah.
I'm on lunch. I gotta make a call.
I'll be in my
office.
Just built an inventory tracker.
Protein calculator.
Book sharing app.
A workflow manager that
Tracks who still owes for the group lunch.
Trash duty schedule.
Since no one seems to care.
just built a
I just created a goal tracking system.
We built the same thing, didn't we?
Yep.
Can this thing manage content?
Is the SOC compliant?
I want to animate this graph.
Create a party planner.
Profesor de español.
An inter-office dating app.
For dogs. For office dogs. You know what I mean?
When allergies interrupt game day, the power of Claritin comes to the rescue.
And by the way, what happens? Then the blackmail is revealed when we all know about Monica Lewinsky. He didn't play ball, so they released the tapes. Okay. So then they go to Obama, and Obama, because he gets the same money from the same guys, Israel First donors give tons and tons of money to the Democrats and the Republicans. Obama finally paroles Jonathan Pollard. That guy should have been in prison the rest of his life. He's a traitor, right? At a minimum. And then Trump gets into office, and they go, it's not good enough that he's released. We want him back in Israel. So Trump says, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And he says he's allowed to leave America and go to Israel. Now, the reason I told you this whole story is because what happens next is the most interesting part. He gets flown out to Israel in a private jet. The private jet is owned by the Adelsons. So that's the same family, Sheldon and Miriam Adelson, that has given Trump $337 million through the 3 presidential elections. So the Adelsons fly him out in luxury and then give him a hero's welcome when he arrives in Israel. Way to betray America.
$337 million.
And Pollard's doing interviews in Israel now saying, you know, all the Jews in America should betray America and work for Israel.
He's saying that?
He's saying that. It's on tape. Okay. And the Adelsons who bought our president, okay, are the ones who are celebrating the traitors in this country. Now, again, guys, don't take it on anybody Jewish. They're not in on it. It's just Pollard. They're not listening to Pollard, etc. But the donor class, fuck those guys, okay? So they're literally rewarding people for betraying us. And so we should ask Trump, you should ask Obama, why? Why did you let this guy go? And now this is more of a theory. Now, okay, those are all facts. My guess is with Clinton and with everybody, they have a piece of blackmail that they can release, like Monica, which is bad, but not thermonuclear. It won't, it won't totally assassinate your character.
The Epstein files.
Okay, you didn't do what we wanted with Monica. Boom, here's Monica. Now, who was really good friends with Bill Clinton? Jeffrey Epstein was. Who was really good friends with Donald Trump? Jeffrey Epstein was. Now, Bill, you saw when you didn't play ball what happened. Now, would you like the thermonuclear files released. Oh, no. Yep. So during the Oslo Accords, Clinton's like, oh, the dirty Palestinians wouldn't take the deal. The Israelis gave them a great deal. It's all their fault, right? And we got to send more money to Israel. We got to send more money to Israel. And then there's a picture of Clinton in one of these events. And you know who's standing behind him smiling? Miriam Adelson.
Are you serious?
Yes. So what happened? I thought you were a big Republican donor. No, they're not. They don't care about Republicans or Democrats or America. They're Israel first. And so whoever's going to help Israel, they'll give to Clinton, they'll give to Trump, and they'll make sure that they serve Israel. Number one donor to Chuck Schumer, Israel. To Joe Biden, Israel. Hakeem Jeffries, Israel. Mike Johnson, Israel. Ted Cruz, Israel. Trump, Israel. So don't tell me they don't control our politicians when we have eyes and ears and we can see the numbers. And why did they do that with Pollard? I think they're at the point where they realize they've lost the American people, and now they've entered the stage of rubbing it in. Okay, we've gone to suppression and oppression. Before it was propaganda, we'll trick them. We'll tell them that criticizing us is a trope and and cancel and destroy. Okay, that's not working anymore. The control of the politicians is breaking apart. Okay, we'll just go to outright oppression. And Larry Ellison, speaking of rubbing it in, super donor to Israel. So these things are amazing. And why isn't the reporters on television talking about it? Dropsite News gets Epstein's emails, Ehud Barak's, and Larry Epstein's. I'm sorry, Freudian slip. Larry Ellison's, founder of Oracle, one of the richest men in the world, the guy who just bought TikTok, CBS, and CNN for Israel, right? So he says to the Israeli ambassador in the emails, I'm going to go talk to Marco Rubio and make sure that he's going to work for Israel. He says in language like he's positive towards Israel, right? He goes and writes another email back. He says, I talked to him. Yeah, he'll be a friend, ally of Israel. He's on our side. So I put $5 million into his super PAC. That's back in 2016 when he's running against Trump. Now Ellison's best friends with Trump before he was his worst enemy, before Larry Ellison was giving to Clinton and to the Democrats. They're literally, when you see the emails, they're literally bribing our politicians. It's legal through campaign contributions. And
if you want to push it out and like really get it out there, make sure you film it. And you'll definitely want to host.
And having conversations with, will you serve Israel? Yes, I will loyally serve Israel. Report back to the Israelis. They will loyally serve Israel. Okay? So this is our fucked political system right now. So the more people find out, the angrier they get. And they should be. They should be livid that we've lost our sovereignty. And guys like Ellison and Adelson run the place. And so now they bought all those big media. The only upside of that is it's a waste of their money. Like when Rupert Murdoch bought MySpace and it was like bankrupt within 6 months because people were like, fuck that. I'm not going to a social media site owned by Rupert Murdoch, right? So go ahead, buy CBS. You think we don't know CBS is Israeli propaganda now? And you're wasting your money with CNN. It was already Israeli propaganda.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about what do we do about, I mean, this war is going to happen. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any stopping it. There's nothing we can do. It's already happening. So what do we do after the fallout? How do we keep the dollar on the reserve currency? Stuff like that.
Okay.
Lately, all right, Cenk, we're back from the break. We were talking, so I want to go into some solutions because it does look like we're probably going to war. It's probably going to be in there for a while. We're probably going to be in there for a while. And, you know, so for the next, I don't know, maybe it could change after midterms. Maybe it'll change after the presidency. I don't know. But what are some things that we could do to get the dollar back on the reserve currency, to ease our allies' minds, to ease the world's mind about this, and it's just anything else we can do, you know, even to our own energy infrastructure. I mean, the other thing is that people that I haven't heard anybody talking about is here we are in the AI race against China. We're pretty much fucked if we lose it. And we're fucking with everybody's energy, with our own energy. We can't even power these systems right now. All of our powers, I mean, nobody's unleashing nuclear. What are we going to do?
Yeah,
we already have to start thinking about the recovery, because the world is fucking pissed. Our energy is fucked. What do we do?
So we're in a world of hurt. And so we got to be realistic and honest about it. And it's going to get, I think, much worse before it gets better. And the solutions are long-term. I wish they were short-term, but they're not. So in the short term, Trump's president for another, 3 years or so. So, but even honestly, if you like the 25th Amendment or whatever, it wouldn't really matter, because you know who J.D. Vance just had dinner with? Miriam Eddles.
Are you serious?
Yes. It's endless, man. It's endless. And Paul Singer and Loeb, these are all Israel First donors. These are all the people that are giving money to try to eliminate Tom Massey in Kentucky as we speak. Okay? Because Massey had the audacity to speak out against Israel, so he must be eliminated. And on the left, we've had a lot of guys eliminated. You think the Jamal Bowman thing was about the fire alarm? No, they gave Latimer $22 million to eliminate Jamal Bowman from Congress, and Cory Bush. Andy Levin. Andy Levin's a Jewish American from Michigan. He's a Zionist. He loves Israel, but he said two-state solution, and the aid shouldn't be unconditional. They're like, what do you mean unconditional? No, Israel's allowed to do anything they want. They spent $4 million defeating Andy Levin, getting him out, putting in Haley Stevens, because she said, I'll, kiss Israel's ass on the left, the right, and the middle. And unconditional. I will help you rob Americans. And she's running for Senate now and getting her ass handed to her. So we've been through those problems. Okay, so when you get to the solutions, what I'm saying is, until the next president comes into office, it's going to be super difficult. Okay, so will oil go through the roof? Yes. Will they start coming off the petrodollar? Yes. Once they start coming off the petrodollar, it's going to be super hard to put them back on.
I don't think anybody's coming back.
Yeah. So then our alliances are falling apart at the seams. Spain and Ireland and Italy are super pissed at us. Now we're theoretically pissed at them on behalf of Israel, whatever. Like, yeah, the Irish aren't good enough allies. Israel's our only. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'd 10,000 times rather be allies with the Irish and the Italians and the Spanish than the Israelis. So all of those things are headed towards disaster. And if the European countries go and do an alliance, economic alliance with BRICS instead of us,
you think that's a possibility?
Of course it is. How many times are we going to tariff them? How many times are we going to say we're getting out of NATO? How many times are we going to spit in their face and say, just shut up, Denmark, we're going to invade you and take Greenland, right? Until they go, you know what, China and Russia aren't saying they're going to take Greenland, you are, right? So, by the way, every war fucks up the country that started it, so minus Israel. Because we're the ones forced to fight their wars. But Russia goes into Ukraine, their military gets destroyed. We're going into Iran. We're using up all of our interceptor missiles.
This is a chat GPT for Airbnb. This new income assistant is trained to find you semi-passive income from Airbnb without you ever needing to buy or rent.
We won't have any defenses left at the end of this. At the end of the day, we've got to take the aircraft carriers out because we're going to run out of missiles at some point. So this is so stupid. It's maniacally stupid. Okay, so for God's sake, we got to get the solution. So how are we going to do that? Number one, you have to vote against all incumbents. Unless their name is Tom Massey or Ro Khanna, or you know for a fact you checked AIPAC tracker and they're not taking any money from Israel, like you know for sure, okay, then you should vote against them. Default, make sure you go to elections and vote against every sitting congressman, unless you're absolutely positive they serve America, okay? So this is when mainstream media will lose their shit and go, how dare you? They have so much experience. Yeah, they have experience in fucking us. They have experience in screwing us over and serving other countries and donor class, etc. They're the cancer, okay? Now, at this point, they'll go, oh, no. Cenk is working with the Republicans. He's going to get you to vote against Democrats. Sean's working with the Democrats. He's going to get you to vote against Republicans.
Oh yeah, that narrative has already happened.
Of course, right? So let me defeat that narrative so easily. So Republicans go into Republican primaries and vote against incumbents in the primaries. So you don't have to vote for a Democrat. You could have a clean Republican who's an American who represents you. Democrats, you don't have to go vote for a Republican. Go into Democratic primaries and vote out all the bums. Vote out all the snakes who keep giving you your money to Israel when 80% of you are against it. So we did a site, notanother.com. It's just the simplest thing in the world. It's a pledge to never vote for anyone who takes any money from the Israeli lobby or sends a single more dollar to Israel, okay? So if you do that in your own primaries, you defeat their talking point of, oh, you're helping the other side. No, we're not even crossing party lines at all. And that's why generally speaking, mainstream media hates primaries. They don't like talking about primaries because in primaries, you have a little bit of real choice left. By the time you get to the general election, it's Israeli robot A versus Israeli robot B, and they've robbed you of all your choices. So it's actually the same way the Iranians work and the same way the Chinese work. The Chinese have a Politburo like the Soviets used to, and they vote within themselves, this very small group of people, and then they give you two options that both serve the Politburo. So then they have fake elections. Iran does the same thing. The mullahs vote internally, then they give you two fake options who both serve the Ayatollah and the mullahs, right? And then people have a fake election. We actually do the same thing here in America. The donors select the guys who are going to win the primaries by giving them all the money. Once you got 5 million in a primary, good night, Irene, okay? In fact, in America, the person with more money wins the election 95% of the time. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, liberal or conservative, nothing matters. 19 out of 20 times the person with more money wins because we legalize bribery. So by the time you get to the general election, every good choice is eliminated, but not in the primaries. So go vote in the primaries and vote out all the incumbents.
Do you think that the money that you said 5 million, you've got it? Do you think that will continue with the rise of independent media?
No, that's why I have a lot of hope. Okay. So remember how we talked about it. So step one is defeating the incumbents, right? But there's a step that I don't talk about in terms of politics, but that's about media, but that's as important as everything else in politics, and leads us back to the conversation we started earlier. Under 50 years old, everyone hates Israel. Above 50, the zombies still think they're our special ally. Why? They're consuming TV and mainstream media. Under 50-year-olds are consuming online media. Mainstream media says we are the only objective ones, when it's the exact opposite. In fact, claiming they're the only objective ones is part of their propaganda. Okay. So, but meanwhile, people are going, okay, wait, I went online and I listened to Sean Ryan and I listened to Tucker and I listened to Dave Smith and Cenk and Anna on the Young Turks and Breaking Points. And I got a variety of opinions. They don't agree on a lot of stuff, but there are facts that they share. And so it is a fact that we gave Israel $320 billion. It is a fact that we cannot negotiate drug prices. It is a fact that we spent $8 trillion on the global war on terror. That wasn't global at all. It was a war on Israel's neighbors. So now $8 trillion other dollars is out to them. So in media, they're like, no, that wasn't for Israel. It just happened to be their neighbors. No, Israel launched all the wars, but they're doing self-defense.
Guys, I'm just going to pause this real quick. If you're new to the channel, my name's Ricky. This is America First. FTR stands for Free the Republic. If you could, drop a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're watching from. Help me break into this algorithm. I would really appreciate it.
And now when under 50-year-olds, if they even turn on TV, they turn it on. They look at it like, what is this bullshit? Oh, this is nothing but lies. The campaign contributions don't affect the politicians. What kind of bullshitter is this guy? It's a play, man. They're all, I call them news actors, not news anchors. So the news actors, and by the way, I worked at MSNBC. I was a host on there. I was their 6 o'clock guy 14 years ago. Okay. They make everybody use a prompter. And I said, I don't need a prompter. On Young Turks side, we don't use prompters. We have our outline prepared. We're going to tell you the video. We're going to show you the videos. We're going to prove our case. We've got the quotes, but I don't need a prompter. I'm just going to tell you a story about it. No, put it in the prompter. I'm like, why? Right? Okay. First, I thought they were just uncomfortable with it. Oh, is he going to be able to handle it? But I did a couple without a prompter, and they're like, oh, he's pretty good at this, right? And the ratings are going up. No, they want you on the prompter because they want to pre-approve your script.
If you're pretending you don't care right now, but you know you do, and you earn at least 150K, watch this.
And so, to be fair, Rachel Maddow also wrote her own scripts. Rachel and I were the only ones who wrote our own scripts. Al Sharpton eventually replaced me. Sharpton not only wouldn't write his scripts, he wouldn't even read his scripts. That's why there's all this video online of him like bumbling, stumbling, saying nonsensical things, because it's the first time he's ever seeing it when it's on the prompter. So there are a bunch of news actors that are just reading scripts that the producers wrote for them. So I write a script, it criticizes one of the sponsors. I didn't know they were a sponsor and I didn't care. But they see it hours before I go on air and they give me a call, take the sponsor out of your script. Oh, that's why you want it in the prompter, because all the scripts are pre-approved. I remember I wrote an op-ed, sent it to Washington Post, New York Times, Wall Street Journal. Sometimes they published my op-eds back in the day. They get a note back. This doesn't fit our narrative. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, because I wrote it. You didn't. So wait. Oh, now I get it. There are no op-eds allowed that don't fit the narrative. Okay. So the whole thing is rigged. So that's the good news. Now they can't have us unsee it. All the under 50-year-olds. And now there's plenty of people above 50 who watch online media too. So now the news is out. Mainstream media is garbage. It's nothing but propaganda. They don't cover the news. They cover up the news. Go watch online and you'll start to see things that are true. Okay. And by the way, there's still bullshitters online. It's not like we're all, angels. So, but that leads to the second great thing, Sean, and part of the solution from the media angle. Now people are forced to use their own minds. Before it was an assembly line. Fox News gives you a load of bullshit. MSNBC gives you a load of bullshit, right? And everyone says the same thing, so there's no variety, and you don't even have an opportunity to use independent judgment, right? So, and they've got us divided in camps, so you're not even seeing the other side. Now, okay, if I'm a Republican, I got Mark Levin telling me one thing, and I got Megyn Kelly telling me something else. Well, now I got to use my own independent judgment to decide who's right. Before, they were all on Fox News and all saying the same propaganda. And look, to Megyn's credit and Tucker's credit, they say it now. They admit it. When we were on Fox News, we all kind of had to say the same thing, right? Now they get to say whatever they want, and they're trying to appeal to the audience, and the audience doesn't want bullshit. The audience doesn't want you kissing Israel's ass. They don't want you kissing donor ass, right? So we're incentivized to tell people things that are true. And the best part of it is once that brother started using his own mind, they're now in our camp because they're going to hear Mark Levin tell you that we should serve Israel. They're going to have Megyn say we shouldn't serve Israel. And Mark's cooked. He's gone. He's a goner. He's never going to win that fight. That's why Ben Shapiro has almost no audience left. Whereas you and Tucker and Megyn are doing great on the.
Thank God Ben Shapiro has no audience left. But it's because everybody can see through it. He is so transparent about how much he fucking hates this country and how much he wants our country to do for Israel. All this shit about him fucking going on campuses like Charlie Kirk or him fucking taking over Turning Point USA. You know what Turning Point USA is? And nobody wants to admit it. It's the evangelical version of fucking AIPAC. It has been taken over by Zionist Christians that have been brainwashed. They get sent to Israel and they go to fucking a week of classes and come back and preach the gospel to paint the Zionists in a positive light. The Jews killed Jesus. What is so confusing about that?
Right, we're doing great on the left. Breaking Points is, and others are, and so Breaking Points has got a right winger too. It's a good independent show, and so in this world, their propaganda runs into our brick wall before our message ran into their brick wall. So that is super good news. So I think we already in 2024, online media was more important than mainstream media. That was the first election where we were more important. And in 28, that's going to be an even bigger number. And by that time, it's not going to be under 50. It's going to be under 55-year-olds, right? Now, the older folks vote a lot, so that brain lock they have on TV is important. This is part of the solution. Go talk to your family members. Go talk to your friends. Get them off TV. Get them off that drug, okay? That drug's killing them. Every time you turn on TV, you're voluntarily allowing someone to lie to you and fill your head with lies, right? So get off that garbage. Go look around. I don't tell people just watch Young Turks. I tell them watch the Young Turks at 6 o'clock Eastern. We do it Monday through Friday. Check it out. But then go watch Sean. Go watch Tucker. Go watch independent shows. Watch our competitors on the left. No problem. Because what they'll realize is we try super hard to give them facts and to stick up for them, right? I want them using their mind. I want an open mind. Once we got open minds, the bad guys are fucked.
Yeah. I have a couple of thoughts. You just solved everything. But I kind of meant just how do we not save face? How do we survive after this war economically? And so the things that I was going to say is that when this does wind down, when we do get somebody in there that, has his own agency, I think I'm not an isolationist. I think we need to become damn close to isolationists.
Yes.
I think that we need to take care of ourselves, get a handle on all this fraud that's going on all over the fucking country, like really get a handle on it and identify the problems and stop that shit. I think we need to lock it up. I think we need to lock it up.
It's America first and America only. That is it. That is it. Obviously, we need to have trade deals with other countries, but all of these billions and billions of dollars going to other countries for foreign aid to fight proxy wars, but that shit needs to fucking stop. And we need to take that money and invest it into our infrastructure, jobs, the American people, middle class, our fucking hospitals, everything that's falling apart in this fucking country.
Up and fix ourselves before we start engaging in foreign affairs again. And I think that we need to tap into our oil reserves. We have some of the biggest oil reserves in the world, and I think we need to unleash nuclear, and then that will solve the problem.
Yeah, so
Honey, look who it is.
I heard you got a new deck. It's a deck warming gift.
It's a work of art. Knock, knock. Hi, neighbor.
Come on,
Happy
come on,
deck
come on, come on,
warming.
come on,
Thanks,
come on.
Gladys. With
5 more
decorators,
seconds.
The neighbors will notice.
Almost there.
Decorators stand out.
Every deck needs a gnome.
I haven't been to the grocery store
Jesus
in over a
Christ.
year, but I'm eating healthier than ever. Here's how I did it. Meal planning used to
For after this war or during. I mean, right now, this shit has to start happening, in my opinion.
Yeah, so there's kind of 3 categories, right? So there's the media category we just talked about, turn off TV, check out a variety of shows, check. Then there's politics, that's the electoral stuff. Vote out all the incumbents is step 1. Step 2 is get a clean president next time.
Mhm.
Okay. So that is monumentally important, because that clean president is going to then unlock all the tool chest that we have. And America has a beautiful, huge tool chest that we can use. But we need a president that's going to represent us and not someone else. So that's absolutely critical. We can come back to how to pick that person, right? And who it should be. Maybe it's a little early, but we can have that conversation. But to your question, Sean, once we've got a clean president, what can he do? Well, first of all, you've got to get rid of Israel's influence in this country completely. Like Joe Kent talks about this. I interviewed him about it. Tucker did. Many others did. And there are Israeli assets inside our government, right? And so totally unacceptable. We've got to find them and remove them. This is not a witch hunt. Like, if you go and do things that are unjust and you attack a random Jewish guy that didn't do anything wrong, you'll ruin the whole thing, right? Don't do that. But if you're working for Israel, we're going to find you and we're going to remove you from government.
That's everybody. So if you don't mind, I'd like to step in, because you're saying vote all the incumbents out. I've been watching the primaries, and I had some skin in the game with Dan Crenshaw, but he's gone.
God bless your heart.
But you watch a lot of these people that are getting in now, and they didn't say it at the very beginning, and now they're coming out and they're beating the Israeli drum.
Yeah,
that's one in particular that I saw. And I was very careful not to endorse somebody just because I fucking hate somebody else, because that doesn't do anything. Yeah, maybe he's out of there. The guy behind him probably isn't going to be any better, but at least we're cleaning something out and getting some fresh blood in. But so I don't know if the incumbent thing is going to work. I don't think it will, because, I mean, you just talked about the PACs. We talk a lot about, a new party. I think that's what needs to happen. And I think the only way that happens is if it's grassroots. It can't be somebody up top. It can't be some fucking guy with a shit ton of money that's going to finance the entire fucking thing. It has to be grassroots. It has to be a movement. And I think a lot of people are going to have to put their differences. Everybody's going to have to put their differences aside. We need to identify a party and somehow, some way, come up with the ethos. What are the biggest things that are affecting the country right now? It's the lobbying, it's
the PACs,
Israel. So we take all these things, and this is the term limits. You hear that being kicked around a lot. And so we take all the things that we really want to change right now, that everybody's talking about, but it's never going to change because nobody in power is gonna fuck themselves out of insider trading or any of that shit. And so you have to try to get all these people elected as fast as possible. So you can't vote for the Democrat, you can't vote for the Republican, you have to vote for the party. Yes, we don't even want to discuss some of this other stuff. I don't think we need to be discussing the things that will be batted around until the end of time. We need to put that shit aside, get these people in here. Some way, somehow, they have to promise that we are going to amend the Constitution in these ways. That's the first fucking thing we're going to do. That's the first thing we're going to do, is everybody has to get in there. You amend the Constitution, as minimally as possible, for these major problems, term limits, lobbying, stuff like that. Then we can go back to all the same bullshit we've been arguing about since the beginning of fucking time. Exactly. That's how it has to be done. But I don't know how you do that when you have a baby boomer generation, a huge generation that is. So I don't know if you have to wait or until they're gone. I don't. But that's the. I've thought about this so much, and have lots of politicians that want to come on the show. I won't have most of them anymore, because you're just full of shit. I don't give a fuck if you're running. I don't care if I served with you and you're running. I still think you're full of shit. Go prove you're going to do the right thing, and then I'll fucking help you with your re-election.
Yep.
I'm not going to help you with your election.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that is how it would have to be done. How would that be? That would be people like you and I. What we're doing right now, we're coming together, we're talking about things, and I know you have wildly different opinions than I do on certain subjects that are very divisive, but we both want the same things here. We both want that flag to mean something again.
Yep.
We want our own sovereignty. We want our own agency. We want our own freedom.
Yep.
We don't want to be Israel's slaves. And that's how it has to be done. And so when you come up with that party and you come up with the very basic ethos, this is what this is about. You will take no money from a PAC. You will no, you won't do any of that. Then you get in, amend the Constitution, get things in order, and you gut the entire fucking system that way.
Yeah. So here's my sense of it, Sean.
It's like a hostile takeover without violence.
That's funny because when I started Just Democrats, I said this is meant to be a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party. Literally the words that I used. Now, it didn't turn out that way, but it was supposed to be. So, and now I'm doing Rebellion PAC. Among the Democrats, like I'm down to Ro Khanna, basically, because Ro is never taking corporate PAC money, doesn't take money from Israel. Like, that's what I mean by clean, right? Massey's clean on the Republican side, Ro Khanna's clean on the Democratic side. Okay, but we don't have to put all of our hopes and dreams into one person or et cetera. So let's talk about the system again. So you hit it on nail on the head. The very last step I was going to tell you, the third political step, is an amendment. Because once you get a clean president, there's a million things you could do, and I can go down that list. But by far the most important is pass an amendment immediately to get money out of politics. Because you got to turn off the tap. If you don't turn off the tap and they can keep bribing our politicians, they're going to bribe them till the cows come home. But if you turn off the tap and all of a sudden they're not being told by a lobbyist, here's, $500,000, now go vote for higher drug prices, then he's going to think, well, wait, I got my source of power now are the voters and not the donors, and the voters don't want higher drug prices. Now I got to go try to serve them. Yes. So getting money out of politics is by far the most important issue. If you don't end the bribery, we're permanently screwed, okay? That's what's putting the stain on the flag.
Yep.
And so it's not, as I've been saying all along, not just Israel, they're all bribing him. Big Sugar down in Florida is one of the biggest lobbies, and they control the politicians in like maniacal ways. Corn industry is huge. That's why we have high fructose corn syrup instead of real sugar in our food. And it literally is making America obese. It's leading to diabetes. It's like literally killing us. But nope, big sugar, big corn, big everything. You got to get them off that crack. As long as they're on the crack of money in politics, we're never going to regain our country. Okay. So now the good news is presidential elections are not like congressional races. So we are already taking baby steps, right? We've already started taking the first steps. We started taking them on the left through Just Democrats because we put in the rule of no one who's endorsed here can take corporate PAC money. So they might still have left-wing positions you hate on social issues, et cetera, right? But on economic issues and foreign government issues, they're clean, right? Because they're not hooked on that money. And who are the two that were most targeted?
If you're looking to supplement your current income or even replace your 9-to-5 through recession-proof real estate investing, then listen up. Hey guys, I'm Brad Smotherman.
By the Israelis, Jamal Bowman and Cory Bush, both Justice Democrats, because they can't take money from Israel. Okay, so you set up incentives and disincentives and rules that get you to the right results. So now they did buy Bowman's seat for $22 million. They can buy almost any seat in Montana or Rhode Island because they don't get enough media attention. When you don't get enough media attention to a congressional or even a Senate race, then the only attention is mainstream media, both local TV news, local radio, local papers, etc. And those guys are almost all bought. So they're going to hear, give you an example from the old days, Max Baucus in Montana, Democratic senator, right? Took more money from the healthcare industry than anyone else. He wrote Obamacare in the Senate. And that's the one that said mandated to buy private health insurance. It was still an improvement, but it was, why are we doing a mandate? It was originally written by the Heritage Foundation. A right-wing pro-corporate group wrote it, gave it to Max Baucus and Obama. They passed it so that you have to buy private insurance, and it doesn't touch the drug companies. Why can't we defeat Max Baucus in Montana as Democrats when he sold us out on the most important bill there was? Because you don't have enough money and there's no media attention. He buys all the ads. He wins re-election really easily, right? But here comes the good news. In a presidential election, the money doesn't matter nearly as much because you can't take the spotlight of a presidential election away. That's why Trump won twice, even though he had way less money than Hillary Clinton and way less money than Kamala Harris. Because they're buying dumbass TV ads that don't work anymore, you know, and they put out their robot ads like, oh, I am for the American people. And it's all like, you know, bullshit propaganda, etc. And by the way, the Republicans, of course, do it too. But Trump comes in and he's outside the system. So that's why a lot of people made the mistake of thinking that he wasn't one of them. When he is part of the establishment. He's a New York billionaire, been in those circles the whole time. That's why he knew Epstein, he knew the Clintons, he knew all these guys. But he was smart enough, and I think doesn't take much. It was a low bar, but he got past it and other politicians didn't, which was, he's like, I gave money to all these guys. When he did the first debate in 2016, 16 guys on the stage, he's like, I gave them all money and they did whatever I wanted. People are like, oh my God, that's true. Right? So even though he had less money, he starts attracting people. He said, I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm going to get rid of what? Money in politics, right? He gets more and more people. And since he's a celebrity, they couldn't keep him out. And he just started saying things that were popular. He didn't mean it. That's why I was pulling my hair out. I'm like, he doesn't mean it. He's a con man, right? But people were so desperate and hungry for anyone who was real or who was authentic, who wasn't a robot, that they believed him, right? And I get why they believed him. I feel like sometimes I'm the only Democrat who gets, yeah, guys, they were desperate. You gave them garbage. You gave them plastic robots from an assembly line. That's why they went for him, because they didn't have any other options. So anyways.
That's the truth. I mean, I get labeled a MAGA podcaster all the time. I was never a fucking MAGA podcaster, but I didn't have an option. I didn't have a fucking option. And he wasn't my first option. I really liked Vivek. I always wondered why Vivek always kind of, you know, he was all about Trump, but he's the smarter guy. He's a smarter guy. He's got better policies. He's got better ideas, can articulate better. I thought he was great, but he didn't make it, you know, and so I had Joe Biden or Trump, and that was it. Both very weak choices, in my opinion.
So look at the lies that people in the establishment,
both over 80 fucking years old.
I know. Look at the lies that the establishment tells. So
think about when you go, when you do, I don't know, 80 plus years old. Fucking serious?
So about 2 years before the 2024 election, we at the Young Turks started a petition to get Biden out of the race. Okay. People are like, whoa, what are you doing? That's the Democratic president. He's FDR 2.0. You guys crazy? I'm like, guys, we play his clips every day. He can't speak. He can't finish a sentence. The other day, he went and shook hands with an invisible guy. Like there was literally, you saw on tape, you could find it online.
Remember that?
It's done with the speech, walks to some place where no one is, and does this.
Yep.
I'm like, his brain's gone. Okay, so I think Trump's a con man, right? So I'm like, I don't want to lose to Trump. If you run a guy who has dementia, you're guaranteed to lose to Trump. So why the fuck do you want to lose to Trump? No, shut up. You're being disloyal to the Democrats. If you were loyal to the Democrats, you would bow your head and follow the orders of the leaders. I didn't come to bow my head, man. Like I'm telling you, man, I'm corny. I believe in freedom. I believe in America. I really do. And I'm not bowing my head to a guy who's got dementia. Okay. And I'm like, guys, he's in the 30s. He's where Trump is now. Biden was there a year and a half before the election. And I'm like, an incumbent that's in the 40s has almost no chance of winning. An incumbent in the 30s has almost never won a national election in America. Why would we go with a guy who is definitely going to lose? And what did I get? We got nothing but overwhelming criticism and hate. How dare you? If you just do the propaganda and you say Biden is great, we'll win the election, you're ruining the marketing and the propaganda by telling the truth about Biden. And now we're going to lose it, and it's going to be your fault. And then we get to the debate, and he's like, we defeated Medicare, and his brain's leaking out of his ear. They're like, oh, shit. And did anybody come back around and say, hey, you guys are right? Maybe. And we said, do an open primary. Don't do Kamala Harris. Don't stop anointing people. You guys suck at this. Do an open primary. Maybe a Bashir from Kentucky could have won or something, right? They're like, shut up, bow your head, right? So for Republican voters and Democratic voters, do not listen to leadership. They're full of shit, and they're trying to lead you astray. So, Dan, what do they tell us? Oh, you got to support Dan Crenshaw. Why? Why do I have to support Dan Crenshaw? No, I don't, right? If you're a Republican, right? And so, okay, you defeated him. The guy who defeated him is also taking money from AIPAC. Oh, God damn it, right? But what you did was you got people's attention.
You should have delivered this months ago.
I just don't know if anyone will want to hear it.
Okay.
Guys, if you're new to the channel, my name's Ricky. This is America First. FTR stands for Free the Republic. Because, as they said in this video, we are no longer a sovereign nation. If you could drop a like, a comment, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, anything to help me break into the algorithm, I would truly, truly appreciate it.
And one of their guys lost. That's a victory, okay? That doesn't mean you solved everything, but it means you're on the road to solving things. Now, the next most important election is not a Democrat's, even though I'm on the left. It's Tom Massey's election in Kentucky. If they, right now, the singer, Adelson, et cetera, pouring in millions to his cutout MAGA opponent, right?
Yeah.
Fill in the blank guy, whoever the fuck he is. It doesn't matter. It's whoever is willing to be a...
Sure, we'll find out soon.
Yeah, it's whoever's willing to be a dog to the Israelis, right? Okay. So if Massey loses that election, the message is going to go to all the people in the House and in the Senate. Oh, don't oppose Israel. They'll come to get you, and it doesn't matter if you're Bowman on the left or Massey on the right. They'll eliminate you, okay? So on the other hand, if Massey wins the election, the opposite message is going to go out. Oh, shit. AIPAC doesn't have as much power as they used to. And now it turns out supporting AIPAC might cost you elections. And now we got Democrats scrambling going, AIPAC? I didn't say AIPAC. No, I'm not taking money from AIPAC. So even Rahm Emanuel, Obama's former chief of staff, you know what happened? First Persian Gulf War, Rahm is so animated about the war that he joins to serve. Attaboy. Oops, he joined the IDF, not American military.
Really?
Yep. He's an American, went and volunteered with the IDF. Larry Ellison gave $16 million in contributions to the IDF. Okay, so, but I brought him up because Rahm is now running for president. And he's on Bill Maher's show last week, and he goes, you know, we should cut funding to Israel. Really, Rahm?
Right.
Really?
Right.
So we even got Rahm Emanuel, a literal IDF soldier, saying we should cut funding to Israel because he knows he can't win if he says we should keep giving money to
Israel.
Israel.
We'll just go right back to it,
Yeah.
Which is why you have to gut the system the way I was saying. I don't think you can leave anybody in there, even Roe, even Massey, who I like both of those guys. I think it has to, you have to get rid of everybody.
No, I'd keep the clean guys, but here's another encouraging thing from the left. So Abdullah El-Sayed's running for that Michigan Senate seat against Haley Stevens.
Why do you think we should keep the clean guys? How do you know they're clean? I mean, like I said, I like them, but there's still remnants of the old system.
Yeah, I hear you, but
get rid of it.
But Sean, hear me out on this. Those guys were brave enough
I'm with you
to take on Goliath when no one else would. So I don't want to lose good soldiers who already started fighting the Leviathan before the cavalry showed up. You see what I'm saying? So that's why, and there's not that many of them, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's at most 6% of Congress. So if you go with the Sean Ryan strategy of don't even look, vote blind against the incumbents, deal, because you're going to get 94% correct people, right? But we're just talking about the fringes and stuff. But those guys have battle experience in fighting the machine, right? So I still disagree with 90% of Massey's votes, but I'll take a clean guy over a dirty guy and a guy who already fought the machine and who already won. And now they're coming after Ro Khanna too. So I'll take Ro over any of those guys. He's already been in the battles. He's already gotten the Epstein files released. He already has a record of delivering for Americans and Americans only, right? So that's why I like those guys. But overall, we're on the same page. Wipe out the incumbents, right? And we got to do it together. If we don't all do it, it's not going to work, right?
So I think the good thing about the 24 election, if there is anything good about it, is it was exposed that independent media has the power.
Yeah,
I think very much so. I tried to get Kamala on here to talk because I wanted to talk to everybody that was running for president. She wouldn't come, and she probably would have run. She probably would have won if she would have done the damn podcast to her.
Well,
but and I'm not saying I would have voted for her. I'm not saying it would have been any better because I think both of them were a fucking disaster, to be honest with you. Point being, I think that with how Trump ran his campaign and podcasting and independent media, I think that's what sealed the deal. I don't even think it was him. I think it was independent media.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And so now we know. So if people like you and I can come together and create some sort of an alliance where we blacklist all these other fuckers and lift the new blood up, it will work.
Don't let your vacation rental and your hammock be invisible. Get seen, get booked on Booking.com.
Hi, I'm JT, and I made Result Hunter, the search engine for conservatives. Let me just tell you what it does. First of all,
it will work.
Here's my take on that. We saw how hard it was for RFK Jr. to get on the ballot in some states, running as an independent, running as a third party. There's some states that wouldn't even put him on the ballot. So if that's the case, and the Democrats and the Republicans feel threatened by a third party, they are going to do everything that they can to shut it down. I think the only way to do it is to take a party over from within and do it like that. I don't know if anybody agrees with me or not, but I think that's the best way to do it. Because we can't run into situations where we have people that we want to put on the ballots where states are going to independently decide that they don't qualify because the states will go against a third-party candidate to save the status quo, regardless of what party it is. So if anybody has any other ideas, drop them in the comments and let me know.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of it, Sean. Now they're on our home turf. They got to come to us, right? And if they don't come to us, they're going to get punished and they're going to lose, especially in a presidential election. You're going to run for president, but you're going to do it hiding in a cave? You're not going to talk to any of the top shows online. That means you're a coward. That means you're a liar, and nobody's going to trust you. Okay. Now, if they come and do the shows, that's a different problem for them because they have to be honest and they have to know their shit and they have to talk to you like they're a regular human being, and they can't, if they use talking points, you and I will catch them and we'll snuff it out, right? So why did Kamala Harris not do any media? Just think about how stupid that is, okay? And this is a huge problem for the Democratic Party. To this late day, they still don't get it. Okay, now you raise all the money, you raise $2 billion, $4 billion, whatever you raised. What are you using it for? You use the great majority of that to buy ads. But what are ads? They're paid media. You know what's better than paid media? Earned media. Free media when you go on the show itself. You're going to buy a 30-second ad on a show when you can just go on there and talk for an hour? What are you, nuts? That's the equivalent of 120 ads that would cost you like millions and millions of dollars. So the guy doing earned media, which in last election was Trump, is going to have a multi-billion-dollar advantage over the person not doing earned media. So Kamala Harris was like, no, I don't want the viewers of Sean Ryan's show to vote for me, or Rogan's show, or the Young Turks, by the way. They don't come on left-wing shows either, okay? And so I don't want those voters. Well, you didn't get them, and that's why you lost.
And that's why I was asking, do you think that the money from the PACs is even relevant if we were to do something like that?
In 99% of elections, since there is no media attention in a congressional run in Montana, and they're not coming on our shows and they're not going on any shows, money still buys those seats. But in a presidential election, they can't buy it. They just don't know it yet. Okay, so now what they'll try to do is they'll try to exclude people. That's establishment 101, right? And so they just did it. MS Now, that's the goofy new name, here are your 24 fighters on the Democratic side. Pick your fighter. So giant number of potential candidates for 28. Who's the one guy they left out? You want to guess?
Who?
Ro Khanna. Okay. Because no, not the clean one, not the clean one. So they're doing all these polls for presidential election. Who's the most active Democrat in the country? It's not even close. Ro Khanna is doing more than the rest of the Democratic Party combined, right? Half the polls don't include Ro Khanna.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Okay, here, I'll tell you more funnier, like that's more spectacular because Ro is the most legit guy there is, right? He represents Silicon Valley. It's the richest district in the country. He was co-chair of Bernie's presidential campaigns. Excluding him is mental. It's a tell. Once they show you a tell like that, you know that they're not being honest or objective. But I'll tell you a funny one that's related to me. So I got so frustrated that nobody's running against Biden, and I tried to get everybody to run. Nobody would do it. I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. I'll do it as a protest candidate, okay? Even though I'm not even born in the country, that's a long story. I think you can run if you're not born in the country because of the 14th Amendment. That's not important. I'm mainly running as a protest candidate. So Gallup includes me in the first poll, and I get 2%. Now, wait a minute, 2% for a guy literally no one in mainstream media talked about as a candidate, who's an online talk show host. Most candidates like senators and governors never get to 2%. When Trump first started, he was at 1%. When Bernie first started, he was at 1%. Okay, so 2%, as comically low as it sounds, is a real number. Because my guess is they put me in the poll because they thought I was going to get 0.
I mean, what percentage of the population votes? Do you know?
Oh, it's around 50%, but not in primaries. Primaries are much lower. That's your base of bases that usually vote in primaries.
50% of the 50% of what?
Of potential voters vote in elections. So now,
what do you know? I'm just curious because you have almost 7 million subscribers on your channel. That's got to be 2% of the voting block.
Yeah, we overall for the TYT network we have 32 million subscribers.
Holy shit.
Okay, so we're a hidden giant because people just think Young Turks, that's the flagship show. But we have like a dozen other shows. We have 24-hour channels on Samsung, YouTube TV, LG, Roku, Amazon Prime, you name it. We got like a cable channel on all of those, right? So we're this, but mainstream media hates us so much, as you can tell for obvious reasons, right? That they're like, no, don't ever talk about them. Don't ever talk about their network. Don't talk about how we're larger than almost anyone online. So, but I want to finish that story real quick. So I get to 2%. And they're like, holy shit, that's better than like half the senators and governors, right? They never put me in another poll.
Are you serious?
Yep. Like, pull it. Let's go. No. So no mainstream media coverage. No.
A mesothelioma diagnosis can feel overwhelming. But with Whites in Luxembourg, you're never alone.
Polls, they're trying to eliminate by default, okay? But because of online media, they won't be able to do it this time around. So let's say, again, let's take Roe or Massey as examples. They run for president, right? And they go, okay, we're not putting Tom Massey in the polls. We're not putting Ro Khanna in the polls. Everybody's going to go, what? Like, no, what is this? You know what? Fuck it. We'll do the poll. You think I can't do a poll? The other day, I was on Tucker's show, and I asked people, do we owe Israel? Okay, because mainstream media keeps saying we owe Israel. I don't know why we owe Israel, right?
Why do we owe it? What is
we don't owe Israel. So I asked mainstream media, why don't you do a poll if you're so sure that Americans think we owe Israel? And of course, none of them do the poll. Then I went to my audience. I was like, hey, you guys want to fundraise for a poll? Like, boom, immediately. Send us. It doesn't take that much. It's like $1,500 to do one question, right? So we got that in a day. We do the poll. Of course, the huge percentage say, no, we don't owe Israel. A tiny percentage are like, yeah, we owe Israel. They don't want to do that. But so my point is, we'll put Massey and Khanna in a poll. Who cares, right? We don't need you guys. And if you don't believe our poll, then you do it, right? And until you put them in the polls, we're going to embarrass you. We're going to humiliate you, right? And the more they try to exclude our candidates, and let's say it's not Khanna or Massey, it's a third-party guy, whoever, it doesn't matter who it is, right? And they're like, okay, we're not including him. It's not your choice, brother. It's not. Look, RFK Jr., when he was barely a Democrat in the first round of the primaries against Biden last time around, he got up to 25% in a poll.
Wow.
He's barely a Democrat, and he's a little wacky in my opinion. And he got to 25%. You know why? Because people are hungry for someone who's different, right? So they're not going to be able to keep us out. They're not going to be able to take away the spotlight. So my point, what I would do is I would encourage Republicans to go in their primary in 28. And if, somebody's working for Israel, you ought to have your head examined if you vote for them. So vote for a clean guy. I'm going to encourage all the Democrats to vote for a clean guy on our side. And whoever gets the clean candidate is going to win, period. Like if we have Ro Khanna versus Ted Cruz, the Republicans are cooked, right? No chance. Or Marco Rubio, Mr. I swear I'll work for Israel, right? So we'll crush, right? So, but let's say neither side gets a clean guy. It's Ted Cruz versus Buttigieg, right? Then fuck it. Then we'll do a third party, okay? And Democrats will hear this and be like, we know it, you're disloyal. No, brother, you're disloyal to the Americans voters. And you're disloyal to Democratic voters. They said no Israel, but you put up Israel's bitch anyway. So if you're defying 80% of your own voters, well, then we're going to defy you because you're not my uncle. The Democratic Party's not, I don't owe you anything, man. And all you've ever done is hate me, even though I was trying to get you to win elections instead of lose elections like morons, right? So I don't owe you a fucking thing, okay? You're supposed to be our representatives. If you don't represent us, you owe us, motherfucker. You owe us. And if you don't represent us, politically speaking, not physically, we're going to put your head on a stick, okay? And after we put enough heads on sticks politically, and after we get the clean president, now you guys are fucked, okay? Well, now we're going to come and take all of you out, I would tell any Democrat that's running this clean, make me the enforcer. I swear to God, I'll get them all out, okay? They won't be able to stop us. You make villains out of them. It's not that hard. We're having a vote, like the vote they just had on Israel. 7 Democrats vote for Israel. If there was a clean Democratic president and I was the enforcer, I'd go to the press conference in the White House, and I'd put the 7 of them, their pictures up on giant posters, and then amount they took from AIPAC underneath, and go, here's what Chuck Schumer sold you out for, here's what Fetterman sold you out for, and Kirsten Gillibrand and Blumenthal, all of them, okay? They're all crooks. You should hate them, and you should shame them, okay? Never do anything physical, never do anything violent, because that's a trap, okay? Want to see more.
All right, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. I'm going to call it a night. I have to be at work at 3:30 in the morning, and it's 8:50 right now. If you could, drop a like, comment, share, subscribe. Anything helps. Anything to help me break into the algorithm. And I will pick up with part 2 of this interview tomorrow. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you guys have a good night. Have a good day tomorrow. And I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.